What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome to Get a Load of This Trucking Podcast. As always, it's your host, Cameron Pesci, driven by Valley Trucking Insurance. And with me, I've got co-host Thomas. Thomas, what's happening, brother?
Oh, not too much. Just out here enjoying my life like everybody else out there, I hope, today.
That's right. And coming into summer months, which I feel like I've had an eternal winter, and Thomas is up by me in the Pacific Northwest. I feel like we just got rid of snow. So
Yep.
now I'm enjoying it and thawing a little bit from this never-ending freeze that we've had. So, and the trucking industry is hopefully unthawing as well, which the people I'm talking to, there's a lot of positive feedback and good stuff moving out there, especially if you know where to look and how to operate. Now's the time you can really stand out as a company owner or freight brokerage or whoever you are. So I am optimistic as always, and I'm pumped today. We got a special guest with us, so I'm going to introduce him. Thomas brought him to me, and I didn't know much about the company, but after learning from Thomas and kind of figuring out what they do and then brief interaction with Jerry here, I am pumped to have you on because I think that it's a much needed asset for a trucking company to add to their arsenal and something that I don't think people are very good about. And I find a lot of truck company owners, they're not great business owners a lot of the time because they don't know, right? And that's why we're here, is to bring value, educate, hopefully guidance, and bring them resources that can help them be better and thrive and get better margins and better opportunities moving forward. So I want to introduce you to Jerry Vaughn. Jerry, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Cameron. Thanks for having me on your show today.
Oh, I'm stoked to have you in. Let's introduce the folks with your company and like a 30,000 foot view of what you do with J.GALT, and I'll let you kind of take that piece. And then we'll dive into your background, what led you here. And I know that you have, deep respect and values for the trucking community, as we kind of connected on here just before the show. So I'm very excited to dive into that. But let's tell the folks about J.GALT and what you guys do.
Well, J.GALT, my partner and I, Cole Wyatt, we started J.GALT about 2.5 years ago. That's when we were born. But we're using a platform because we saw a need with a small and medium-sized business owner. And as obviously with my grandfather being in the trucking industry himself, being a solopreneur, driving a rig himself. I mean, I got to ride in that thing and toot the horn like all kids like to do. You know, we always like to do those things. But I know that it was a struggle for him back then just to be able to keep on the road. And they had 10 kids. So my dad was one of 10 kids. So there was a lot of challenges they had. He was gone on the road a lot, didn't have a lot of work and family balance. So, and then obviously being a business owner myself and trying to get access to cash flow. We know that 82% of business owners fail. It's not because they're not passionate. They don't know what they're doing. It's just trying to get access to cash flow to buy trucks and trailers. You know, a lot of guys are renting trailers, and that's a big cost. So how do you get to buy those things when you're trying to use your personal credit? So we saw a gap in the road, and we saw Wall Street companies, those big carriers, and they were thriving, but the small business truck owner guy couldn't do it. So we said, hey, let's start a company to show them and educate them on how to build true business credit on what? That IRS tax number, that EIN number, and you can get fundable. We just got a guy $50,000 to buy a truck for a 1.9% interest rate. You ever heard of that? I mean,
No,
that's
that's
the kind of impact we can make. So we got really excited about educating and serving the trucking industry, the real estate advisor, any business owner that's out there by themselves to be able to cash flow their business just like those Wall Street companies. So if you're interested in doing that and see your fleet getting to be, I mean, we've got some guys that now have 100 trucks in their fleet, right? Started out with one truck. And now they've got 100 trucks in their fleet, and they're doing all of that without any personal guarantees, attaching their social security number on it, truly building a corporation around them and being a true executive of their trucking company.
I love that. And everyone starts with a dream, right? There's a why and there's a reason that they got into it. And
Right.
so you keep that in focus, and then you have to grow. You got to take the steps, and you can't skip the steps to get there. And it's people like you, experts in the arena, that can help guide them, educate them. Let's back up. What's your background? Because to get to that point, and what you're doing is exciting. I'm pumped. I'm already excited about going into this a little bit more and some of the cool things and benefits that are available in the marketplace now with ERC and some of these things that some of these guys might not know about. So I'm excited to shine some light on that. But what is your background, from college to whatever that led you to this point?
So I've always had an interest in finance, always liked numbers, always liked math. So I was always drawn to helping people out and really helping business owners with cash flow. So started out just going business to business and helping them build a plan and understanding their cash flow needs. Because a lot of guys and gals think it's about revenue and profit. And if you don't understand cash flow, that's where you get into expense trouble, or you're bootstrapping, you're using all the cash. And what happens is you wake up one day and you're 55 years old and you're like, I have nothing for retirement. What I thought I was building is not really the asset I thought it would be. So then you get a little worried, right? Did I make the right decisions? But now 20 years later, you're like, what am I going to do now? I've been doing this for so long. So I started out in the financial background. Actually, I've been a DJ. I've done a lot of things. I've always been an impactor and connector. I've always been passionate about people and helping people. Into a lot of nonprofits. Actually, I'm getting ready to start my own nonprofit organization to help children and people in need financially. Once again, in the finances, to help people take something, because sometimes you get on hard luck or get laid off and can't find anything, and that tears you down with that. So helping uplift people and give them that second opportunity is really why I got into this. And that's kind of my background, and what brought me here today is really serving business owners. But when I found out you could really, truly build credit around your corporation, because I always like, how does Wall Street? I just thought it was because they had shareholders and investors. Not really. There's a secret set of rules that's not being shared with Main Street. Wall Street has high paid bankers and high paid CFOs, and they have the resources to be able to do the things. And a small business owner, a guy owning or a gal owning a truck, I mean, they're trying to get their business out there. They're promoting it. They're driving it. They're running the routes. They're dealing with the maintenance, and they just don't have time. And then they try to have some family balance if they have that. And it just gets really hard when you're wearing all the hats. So we decided to come up with a service that was affordable, that really would provide a lifetime membership of benefits for any business owner. And so just taking all of our experience, our relationships that Cole and I have had with running several companies, understanding it, being there. I mean, I've had cars put on the back of trailers and banks take them away from me. I've been on tax liens. I've had my houses on forbearance. I mean, all of that becoming an entrepreneur, it's a tough road and you got to stay committed to it. So understanding those challenges, so there's got to be a better way, because there's no one's educating anybody on finances or how to run a business out there. They're not. You don't learn in elementary school. You don't learn in college. So how do you make the backbone of the country, which I think the trucking industry is the backbone, because we wouldn't have the drugs, the products, the groceries, the clothes, the stuff imported or domestic. You don't have any of that without the trucking industry. So, and obviously with my grandfather being in it and a lot of my friends that are in it and a lot of the clients and members that we work with now that are friends at J.GALT, because we're showing them how to thrive, not just survive. We're really excited about being on your program today to share some knowledge, to give them some nuggets to walk away with, to do things better and differently so they can learn how to thrive in today's economy and not survive, because there's a huge opportunity, but do you have the mindset, strength, and the systems to do that? And that's hopefully what J.GALT can bring to the table.
Well, no doubt you're passionate about it and know your stuff. And when Thomas came to me, and for listeners that maybe missed that or kind of skipped over that, Thomas actually altered his career path and went to work with Jerry and make an impact to truckers on the financial side of the house. And so Thomas and I have talked about it quite a few times in depth. And I think it's such a valuable piece that you're bringing to the table, and a valuable tool that a lot of these companies, as you kind of hit the nail on the head, are not educated about, because finance is confusing. You start diving into the stock market, God forbid you listen to mainstream media and what's happening and like what's available or what's not available, and like all of a sudden the dollar, all this kind of stuff. But then Thomas and I got talking the other day on, hey, are these companies taking advantage of the ERC credit that's coming through? Are all these different things that are available that you guys bring to the table as a piece of your solution and talking about and educating on is so valuable. So I was pumped. So, Thomas, tell us a little bit about your just experience, joining these guys and obviously learning from Jerry, who's a wealth of knowledge here. I'm excited that we made this connection. But let's talk about that and what it's done for you, Thomas.
Honestly, I think one of the biggest things here, I can echo what Jerry said earlier, is that a lot of business owners are really good at doing the job that they are passionate about doing. And, in this case, we're talking to a lot of facilipreneurs, a lot of trucking motor carriers out there. And what I found when I was doing the insurance thing is that a lot of people were running into those cash flow problems, maintenance issues that would take them off the road and basically shut down their operation for an extended period of time. And for, 1 to 3 units operations, that's going to be, potentially fatal to the company. And noticing that there's that big problem of being able to get the liquidity when they need it effectively and at favorable terms, rather than using like an MCA or some other predatory type loans with high interest rates, being able to help bridge that gap and help bring that knowledge and education to people and really set them up for achievement of dreams is a lot, very, very fulfilling, I should say. Very, very fulfilling. Learned a lot about the struggles that people are having out there on the road. I mean, obviously, talking about the trucking industry, we're looking at spot market rates. We're looking at fuel prices. We're looking at driver shortages or congestion with unqualified drivers, things like that. But one of the biggest things that I'm running into is people needing money right away, and they've had no plan on how to get that money when they need it ahead of time. So instead of being able to say, hey, let me utilize a small credit card of $5,000 from here until, say June or, October or whatever for 6 months or so, and then start asking for more money like, a normal person would do with their operation. I find that a lot of truckers will say, well, we don't need money. We don't need money. We don't need money. And then all of a sudden they need $60,000, $150,000. And a bank says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's take a look at your personal score. Let's take a look at your personal assets. Let's figure out a way to get you what you need. And a truck owner or a business owner is going to say, well, I need this money right away, so I don't care what I have to do. Let me just do it. And then it puts them into a cycle of, really, really precarious situation where they're leveraging their personal credit, not able to live their life effectively. They're putting their personal assets at risk, and they're subjugating themselves to higher interest rates than otherwise would be possible. So I think, working with J.GALT and finding out that there's a pathway through this has been eye-opening and a really wonderful resource for a lot of clients that I work with.
Yeah, and I've been excited to watch you kind of grow and take on this new endeavor and learn. And I'm rooting you on that because I think it's a huge need, obviously. So, and I think, too, a lot of people operate from a position of fear, right? And they make irrational decisions. And then when you start tying in personal guarantees towards your equipment on something that's literally deteriorating every single day, then your spouse comes into play. So going back to Jerry's point, I'm age 55 and I thought I built this thing up to retire on, but come to find out it's really not worth what I thought it was, right? Or I went about it the wrong way and now I'm leveraged so much that I'm going to be lucky to cover what I just guaranteed when I get out of this thing, especially in a hard market or something where they came in without a plan. So no, I think that's crazy. Hey, Jerry, obviously you've been in this for a while. When did J.GALT start?
It started 2.5 years ago, but the platform we use has been around since 2007. It's served thousands of business owners, trucking industry included, and helped them get millions of dollars in capital that's not tethered to them personally. So no personal guarantees, no social security attachments. But if you look at the grand scheme of what business owners want, is if you think about it, what we teach and educate our business owners and our members at J.GALT, which we have lots of services, by the way. It's like when you walk into Costco, right? You can buy cars, air conditioning system, windows, products, food. It's a membership. So we have a lot to offer a business owner and in the trucking industry. So we'll say you guys, whether you're a solopreneur or you have a trucking company, but what we want to do is build corporate credit, make sure you understand cash flow, and then have a business value. So you know exactly what it's worth today, where to invest in it, how to properly insure it. Because what we find, and you're in the insurance business, Cameron, right?
Yep.
You're in that. So a lot of business owners, we find out over 90% of business owners are underinsured, right? On the asset they're building, because there's a lot to try to keep up with, and you don't have the staffing. You only have so much time. You're doing the best you can. When line hauls go down, you got to be able to have a lease to have that truck delivered, to hook up to that trailer, to deliver that expectation. But then that truck's got to get back and repair, because you never shut those diesel trucks off. They're always running, so they'd have it prone to break down and need maintenance. Well, you have to have the supply. You don't need an extra truck, but boy, wouldn't it be nice to be able to, if something breaks down, to have a leased vehicle, a leased truck to pick it up and pull the load and finish the job so you can make money and then get the other one fixed and have that leased vehicle. But you can do all that on your company, because true cash flow and credit's offered to your company, not you, the owner. And it's just understanding the secret set of rules that, by the way, they don't want you to know about it, because the bank's job is to give you money. The government wants to give you those loans and those fees because they want to keep you in debt. So what we teach our trucking industry and our members that are part of J.GALT is how to take the same 200-year strategy of a bank, leveraging cash flow. So I want you to think about a big trucking company like Yellow. Okay. They're huge, right? They've got a lot of cash flow. They're using lots of money. They're using millions and billions of dollars to fund their operation, but they're leveraging the bank's money. What you're doing is you're leveraging your social security number and you're leveraging your assets to try to run your corporation, but you can't stretch that personal credit bubble so far. You're trying to run your personal life and your business life, and you can't do that. You got to get them separated. You don't want to put that at risk. But we can get you access to 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 times the amount of money. Cash flow your business, just like those big national trucking companies. You can be the best locally. If you could get interest rates, right, from 0 to 5%, you heard me right, 0. Corporate credit cards give you 0% from 3 to 18 months. Imagine cash flow in your business with free money. So I guess the question I always ask people, I said, why are you financing your company like the parent of your company? It should be the other way around. You should be the owner and the executive of your company, where your company stands alone financially and legally. And that's why you have become an LLC, is because you're a limited liability corporation, that if you get sued, they can only come after the business assets. They don't touch your personal assets. But right now, when you're writing your social security number or PGing, that trailer, that truck, the cash flow, the credit cards, the gas and fuel cards, you're opening up the gateways for what? Have those financial predators and creditors take the shirt off your back. What we want to do is give you the education, the system, and the guarantees to make sure you do things properly. You get financing at the best rates, not to go into debt, to run your operations and take your money, invested in your future, invested in your family, hire resources so you can take off the hats and be on the business and not in the day-to-day operations of the business. And that's what you're going to find with J.GALT, is we'll get you the finance, the cash flow at the best rates and terms, 0 to 5% typically. Imagine getting your tractor and trailer at a 1.9 to 2.5% rate, getting corporate credit card rates 0% on the stuff, your fuel, and making your payroll and hiring the people and doing your marketing and hiring a dispatcher, doing all that free money. Because if you leverage the cash flow from the banks, because that's what they do with your money. Right, Cameron? Think about it. You put your money in a business account, in a bank, and a savings account. How much interest do they pay you on your money when you deposit in the bank, Cameron?
Peanuts.
0 point nothing. And then what they do is, when you want a loan, oh, sure, we'll give you that truck loan. You can get that tractor for 15%. And then there's a positive arbitrage. So the bank gave you nothing. They loaned it back to you at 15%, and they got to keep the difference, and you made them rich. We're wanting to teach you how to do the same thing, but we're going to use the bank's money to run your operations and to grow and scale, not go into debt. That's why we have a cash flow advisor that helps you, making sure before you use the financing that you are going to get on your company, to understand your cash flow needs, so you don't do what? Go into expense trouble. Because automatically when we get Sign and Drive, we have a trucking company lady in Texas. Okay, she had $1,000 in credit on her company, got her to over $724,000 in 11 months. Sign and Drive tractor and trailers, 10,000 diesel fuel cards per truck per week. And when you get that, you get excited. You're like, oh, I can buy 5 trucks and I'm going to 5X my revenue. No. If those trucks aren't moving and they're not carrying loads and you don't have people to drive them, it's not an asset, it's a liability. So we have cash flow experts that help you plan things out so you make the right decisions on the money you're going to get, so you stay in the thriving mode. But when you get that opportunity to get that big contract with that warehouse to deliver product across the nation, now you have the capital, you have the access to the tractor and trailers. Now you can make a $300,000 to $600,000 impact to your business. And what would that do for you, the listeners watching today, if you could get a job and knew with confidence that you could do it and have the access to the equipment, vehicles to do so? Would $300,000 to $600,000 in profit impact you and your business for the year? Of course it would, right? And that's about leveraging cash flow. That's all it is. Leveraging the bank's money to make you money. So if I told you, give me $50,000 a day, you can make $300,000 profit at the end of the year, would you do that? Sure would.
Oh, all day. Yeah, absolutely would. Psychology of money, and I love that. In insurance, I'm in the transfer of risk. It's the same thing you're setting up when you create the business plan, create the, your LLC, create all your insulation factors there. And then money's a tool. So you hit the nail on the head there. And then, yes, I think what it also allows you to do is to bring your lens view back a little bit, and then you can then balance out your operating costs a little bit easier. So what I find the focal point for a lot of these solopreneurs and the owner ops that do it, they're very subject emotionally to where the rates are at with the market. What's the availability there? So, hey, I'm running at $1.20 a mile or $1.80 a mile, and I need to be running at $2.80 a mile to become profitable again. Well, I think in this scenario, you can actually weather that storm, take the lens out a little bit, do an annual average, and actually have that comfort level knowing, okay, I'm keeping my truck moving. It's not at my optimal cost, but over the average of the year, I'm going to get back to that point, and I'm now going to have assets available that once that contract becomes available that I just secured and they need 10 trucks, I've got the resources to go do it, fulfill it, and hire and go. And that's how you make money in this market, right?
That's
Is
right.
relationships at the end of the day. If you're living off the spot market, which is inefficiency of shipping, period, that's not a good strategy. It's not a great, solid business plan. In fact, I'd question if you had a business plan in place, and if that was your business strategy, you need to talk to new people at the truck stop that are successful, right?
That's right.
And not the rumor mill that's keeping you down or whatever, because the successful guys are not doing that. They're really not.
Great
They build
perspective.
relationships.
The
So,
transfer of risk, you buy insurance to do the same thing. We don't buy insurance because we
yep.
want to use it. We're going to
Oh,
leverage.
you don't like insurance, Jerry? Come on now.
I love insurance.
But you know how to use it and you know the purpose of it. People hate it, and
Yes.
it's a
It's all about
necessary evil.
education, right? There's
That's
there's
it.
insurance for whatever you're wanting to use, just like here.
That's
Why
it.
would you use your money when you can use the bank's money? It's not going into debt. It's leveraging their cash
Yeah.
to run your operations at lower interest rates. You're going to get 0 to 5% on your personal credit. You're going to pay anywhere between 18 to 29%. Well, that's amortized interest. And that's where you have to understand money and interest, because it is a tool and it's a game, folks. You go to the bank, their job's to loan you money. They're going to look at your EIN and say, oh, you don't have business credit because you don't understand how to build it. Then they're always going to fall back to your social security number, and that's going to be at a higher interest rate, which actually jeopardizes your personal life because you're paying higher interest rates on your personal financing and your home and auto insurance, because you're just trying to figure out to do the best jobs you can as a trucking industry guy. You're just financing your social security number to run both sides of the fence. And we can't do that. We got to get those things separated so you have better cash flow options and better terms and rates, so you can cash flow like those Wall Street companies, because it's not hard to do. You just got to be able to do it, be intentional, follow the steps. And you need a coaching team that's going to advise you to get there, because your passion and job is to do what you're doing. Our passion and job is to put you in a better place and get you the cash flow at better rates and terms so you can grow and scale, or really protect your personal assets so those financial predators and creditors can't ever get your Social Security money. They can't get your 401ks, your mutual fund, your student loans, your kids' college funds. They can't take your cars, your trucks, your house. You got to protect those things. But if you're mixing in your personal with your business, you're putting them all at risk, and that's not a good place to be.
No, I think our spouses love risk, right? They love financial stress. I think that's what holds marriages together the most.
I just talked
Well,
to
it's
John.
actually,
Goes, oh, my wife won't let me leverage the house. I want 2 trucks and I can get it, but I have to put the house up.
that's exactly the
Do
scenario
that.
I was
She
going to
was
bring
the
up.
truck for me, and he picked her, which I think was a smart decision.
Yeah,
Probably smart.
that's probably the good idea. Thomas, you're in the trenches right now, so let's kind of
Yeah,
hear
I
a
was
little
going to
bit
say,
about how you're entering into this market, what you're hearing, the feedback, because you're talking to these guys that are startups that are facing potentially closing down because they can't get enough revenue to run or even let alone fix something. God forbid it break. You made a comment of having a $5,000 credit card till October. Well, June was probably the more accurate guess. Once something goes wrong, their credit card's maxed out in the next week.
Yeah.
So
there's a big problem out there. I mean, we keep falling back to, and the whole reason this podcast exists is for educational purposes, right? To bring knowledge and awareness out there. And almost everybody I talk to has the stigma of how debt's used on the personal side, and they take that same mentality and they attribute it to how the business side of things is supposed to work. And they're completely different beasts with completely different rules. And you can utilize, as Cameron said, this tool of money in a very different way to really impact your business's profitability. And it's not even for those people who are just struggling too. It's for people who are doing the right things, but are probably over leveraged with their personal credit. Because we brought up the house or choosing the spouse just a second ago. I was talking to a guy 2 weeks ago, and he was talking to me about how he's trying to buy a house, but he can't get a house because his credit's over leveraged because he had to use all of his money for his business. So now he has to figure out either sell some stuff off from the company to alleviate a little bit of that credit limit so he can go out and get a decent interest rate on his house. But then he's fighting the mortgage rates right now that are high too. So it's like a double-edged sword he's fighting. And if he had planned ahead of time to be able to get that corporate credit set up to where his business ran on its own, that personal side of credit would have been so underutilized because his business is profitable. And he wasn't making money. He's a successful business owner, no question about it. But he's just managing his money wrong. And it goes back to another thing Jerry said is, business owners are good at doing what they do. They need, almost all of us, we all need a team of people to specialize in things that we don't specialize in, because we all do what we do when we do it well, but we can't do everything well. And to make a business operate to the maximum efficiency, you need everything operating at full tilt. So if I'm not going to be utilizing money right, I'm going to be lowering my revenue. I mean, my gross profits. There's no way around it. Another good example too is, when someone comes up and they say that, I mentioned this earlier, they want to get money real quick for a truck or something. And you brought this up too, Cameron, getting that short-term loan to be able to get that down payment taken care of, and then trying to use the revenue of the company to be able to pay for that extended loan terms. And then you get into that expense trouble, which causes bad problems to compound and just kind of gets out of hand. And then I run into people who are in that position, and then they have a breakdown on the truck that they purchased. And now they can't operate. They're losing money on the repair bill. They're losing money on the loads that they're not being able to deliver. They're breaking relationships and dependability in the marketplace. So everything that's going wrong is really related to their ability to manage the funds. And it's crazy to me how much of a lack of awareness and education there is out there, which is, again, why I decided to make the switch over to work with J.GALT to help bring that education out. It's pretty impactful when people open their eyes to see, the benefits of it, of having the cash flow. I mean, we can go into examples all day. Another good one is just interest rates alone. You take a $200,000 loan out for, 2 tractors, and you're paying 10% interest rate or 2% interest rate. That's a lot of money back in your pocket just because you had better credit. And that's not even impacting your personal side of things. I mean, how can this be a bad thing for you to want to learn how to do? But still, a lot of people take that personal credit mentality and they think that it's just straight bad to use bank money. And that's, really where we come in with that education piece.
Well, it empowers the business owner at that point,
Exactly.
puts you in a position of FU, right? Like
Yeah.
the gambler.
It's like the position everybody wants to be in. They want to have that FU money. That's really what you want.
That's it.
Yeah.
But utilize it correctly, and it's as a tool, and then you're not a detriment to sync your personal finances with it. Now, no, we all know, we deal with business owners and we deal with these people every single day. They're not going to fail. They're a resilient bunch. Truckers are so resilient. They're going to make it. Sometimes they need a little bit of reminders of why they got into it and why they're doing what they're doing. And they get, you get tired getting the shit kicked out of you day in and day out and being told that it's going to fail and being told all this negativity, because that's what cuts through the noise, unfortunately. So any chance we get to talk to people like Jerry, and then obviously Thomas, you're on this mission now, it's refreshing because you guys are fighting for the backbone, as Jerry put it. What makes America great is the trucking industry, right? And it's what makes America move. It's how we are able to do this. It's how we're able to do anything in life. Jerry, let's look and chat about some of the hurdles and obstacles, because no doubt you've had some hiccups in the road, especially starting in the last 2.5 years. Could be in a number of different ways, but what are some of the big hurdles that you've encountered when going on this journey that you're on?
So it's just really getting out and effectively talking to the truck drivers, right? Because they're on the road. They don't make money if they're on the road. They're driving through mountains. I mean, Thomas, how many calls do we have together where they're on their cell phone and they would freeze or they'd drop, and how many times that guy dropped on and off, right? Because we understand it, but we still talk to you. I mean, calls a little bit longer because you got to get to a place where you're safe and you got a good signal. But some of the challenges, and I want to share some information to put all of your viewers and listeners, okay? to show them how they can set up a better corporate profile so they can get access to corporate funding, right? Because we're happy to share education. You can do it on yourself. I always say, hey, you can remodel your kitchen on your own, or you can pay to have it done, right? If you've never remodeled a kitchen on your own, I don't know how it's going to turn out for you, but you can do the best you can, right? So, but we want to share some information with you. And some of the challenges is everyone understands how their consumer credit system works, and it's totally polar opposite of how business credit truly works. You got to have a website. You've got to have a corporate email address. It can't be Cameron at, thomastrucking@gmail.com. It's got to be Cameron at thomastrucking.com. You got to have the website. You got to have a business bank account. It can't be a personal checking account that's got your business name on that you're funding it, right? You got to have merchant processing, which is just credit card processing. There's some fundamentals of taking your business partner. Some of you are solopreneurs out there that are listening. Okay, you're like, no, I'm an LLC, but I'm a solopreneur. Well, you've got a business partner. No, I don't. Oh, yeah, you do. Uncle Ian. That EIN, that employer identification number, that federal tax ID number you got from the IRS, that's just like your Social Security number to build personal credit, get that credit score from 300 to 850. You can do the same thing with your EIN, but it's 0 to 100. But here's the thing. You got to get it fundable for corporate vendors and lenders so they don't look at your personal credit profile, because it doesn't matter what revenue you're making, how much money is in your bank account, what your tax statement looks like. None of that matters. EINs are to build corporate credit is fantastic. It's easy to do. You just got to get it fundable. I mean, one of the things is you can't use a cell phone number as a business line. Okay, you've got to have it registered with 411 directory. When's the last time, Cameron, you used 411 to look up a business number?
It's been a minute or ever.
I think it was back when I was like 23 years old and I'm 55, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, no one uses that because we use Google and everything else that we have out there. But did you know, truck drivers, listen to me. If your business number is not listed with 401 directory, it's an automatic denial for corporate vendors to give you access to those fuel cards and different things that you guys need to run your business. And it's all about fundability. And that's really it. It's not like when we have our Social Security. Now, as soon as we graduated and turned 18, TransUnion, Experian, Equifax automatically started tracking our Social Security number. We didn't have to sign up for anything, and then started building our credit profile. But you remember when you were 18? Could you get a Visa or American Express card? No. Could you buy a new vehicle? No. Could you buy a new mortgage? No. Because you didn't. It wasn't because you had bad credit. You just didn't have credit. So that's kind of where you're setting with your EIN. But we got to get it fundable. You got to get it reporting to the Business Credit Bureau, which is Dun & Bradstreet. Listen to what I'm saying, not TransUnion. Dun & Bradstreet is like the TransUnion on the personal credit side. They're the big bad boys on the business credit side. Then you have Experian, Equifax, but there's a business division and a consumer division. Well, you have to have those three reporting agencies lined up with your EIN of your business. Because if you don't have fundability, you don't have those business credit reports, you'll never build a robust credit profile and score so you can get access to all of that cash flow, that capital and credit that's not tethered to your personal assets or you as the owner. It's not hard to do. And just like I told you, Christine went from 1,000 over 724,000 in 11 months, sign and drive tractors and trailers with $10,000 diesel fuel cards. All she did was follow a process, did it in the right order, was patient. And all you got to do is use the right vendors to report, and magic will happen for you to build an enterprise. And that's what Thomas and I are really excited about doing. We want to make our communities more enriched and better. And how we do that is serve and help business owners just like you get access to cash flow so you can grow your enterprise.
And you guys you mentioned that you're like Costco. So I'm curious to hear some other suite of products that you deal with, whether it's tax plan, like whatever. Like, let's run through some of those other things that you would touch on or that you're excited to bring to the trucking industry that you find there's a void. So let's talk on those for a second. What do you got?
Yeah, we offer free unlimited business credit reports. We offer cash flow mapping so you understand your cash flow needs as a trucking company, right? So you know exactly where your money's at and what it takes to run your company so you're not guessing. We all understand.
Let's touch on that for a sec, Jerry. What are some of the KPIs or, the benchmarks that you're measuring that a company should be aware that they should be measuring? Yeah. Everyone thinks in terms of percentages, especially when it comes to trucking, or per mile, right? Like that's the generic term. Hey, what do I need per mile to be profitable? And if it's not that, I'm parking my truck. Maybe, but maybe not. But let's look at the overall health, and let's look at all the numbers and how they play into your business and like your P&L.
Yeah.
I understand that as a business owner, I look at P&Ls all day, but let's touch on some of those, Jerry, because I think that's important. I think that the education surrounding that, there's not enough. There can never be enough education surrounding numbers.
So when you're talking, because cash flow is king. Yep. All there is to it. It's not the money you get. It's not what we help you out now getting the best cash flow. If you don't understand cash flow, you can get the best rates and terms you want. You'll go out of business because you don't understand your cash flow needs. P&L reports, profit and loss statements, Cameron, aren't those fun to look at? You said you read them all the time. Do you have fun doing it?
I actually do enjoy it. I'm kind of, Thomas knows, I'll be looking at Excel trainings and all kinds of weird stuff all the time. I enjoy that piece, but most people don't.
So. No, and it's hard to understand, right? So cash flowing is telling your money where to go instead of asking where it went. P&L reports, we see value in them. It's like driving your rig down the road and only using your side mirrors to drive your truck down the highway. What would happen if you were just looking through the side mirrors and not out the windshield?
It depends if it's auto driving or not. Self-driving trucks coming.
There's no auto driving. It's a nice.
Who knows? You're going to crash into what's in front of you. What's going to happen?
An accident, right? So that's all P&L reports. They're important, but they're history reports looking backwards of where you've been. And it's important to know what expenses you spent. But cash flow mapping, so you're asking what are some of the KPIs, it's telling your money where to go. Hey, what are my reinvestment costs to plan for the truck repairs that I'm investing in my company? What are your fixed expenses, like the truck payment, the trailer lease, okay? Then you got your variable expense like fuel cost, okay, what you're paying your people or dispatcher or your advertising. Then you've also got your, when you look at your dividends, so what do I make as an owner? So it allows you to map things out. So let's say you wanted to add another truck or you're getting ready to do a job, you could plan it out and build a map with our finance analyst. If you look at that, it allows you to be able to charge your customers the right amount of money because sometimes we get excited about just taking up a job. Yeah, I'll do that for $1,000. But we have no idea what that's going to cost us and what the true cash flow profit's going to be out of it. What's the dividend payment to us as an owner, as a company? And you can build as many maps in here where Excel spreadsheet, you're just putting in what you spent or QuickBook does it for you, right? So you hook your bank accounts up to it. And at the end of the month, you're like, you're not asking where your money went. You know for sure before you make decisions or you take out the loans or the ERCs or the bank loans or the lines of credit or use your Capital One Spark card. Is it going to make sense for me to do that? Adding an employee, is that going to cost money? Hey, I'm getting low. Let me just cut this guy because I don't need him because I can't afford him. Is that really a smart deal? Without him, are you going to be able to survive? So it allows you to plan properly and understanding those key components of your variable costs, your fixed expenses, your reinvestments, your taxes. Because if some of your solopreneurs, 1099s, you got to save for tax. If not, guess what the IRS wants every year? Right. Most of you guys make $250, but after tax, you're probably making $150,000. It's a lucrative industry to be in if you're just a solopreneur. But if you don't plan properly, you can end up paying the IRS for the rest of your life on being on a tax plan at 3 to 5%. And that's not a good place to be. So cash flow mapping really makes you understand as an owner what the cash flow needs are monthly so you don't get into what? Expense trouble. And that and put your business and your finances at risk. That's what it does. It's really looking out the front windshield of your business, not only looking through the rear view mirror, which is what QuickBooks and a P&L report does for you.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think needs to be a huge emphasis placed on that. It's something that I talk about too when we're talking about, reducing risk and the overall cost of what things really actually cost to be underinsured. So if you're underinsured and you're out of pocket, even a tow, let's say $5,000. How much revenue do you have to do to replace that $5,000 in your business going back to your profit margins? Again, it's not $5,000. You can't just go get a load and get $5,000 back. No, it's far more than that, significantly. I mean, we don't have to get into percentages and stuff. But anyway, so knowing your numbers is huge because it allows us to predict and properly protect you and knowing what the actual cost is for not having it.
Well, it allows you to communicate too what you need to do with your team. If you've got a team of people, it's hard to explain it. Read your P&L report and try to explain that to the guy driving. They're going to hear this, right? You're talking, they're hearing, they don't get it. But to be able to be specific, and we actually give them a family map and a business map. So they do their business, it feeds into their family map, and they put their mortgage, their vehicles, their insurance. So we want to help keep business and personal separated. So we don't just help the owner out on their business. We actually automatically feed it into their family map so they can take care of their cash flow needs as they live the lifestyle that they're building, right? I always say, you have that guy on Netflix, The Rich Life. We show them how to build the rich life on themselves personally. You're working hard. How's that look on the personal side? Because you make all the money you want over here on the business side. if you're spending too much money to understand your cash flow needs on the personal side, that could put you at jeopardy too, and make running a business and the family life pretty hard too. We're here to save marriages as well, right? So understanding cash flow on both sides with a spouse and with your business partner, those are two good marriages that we want to keep solid with the business owner. Okay.
Good. I'm going to call you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Happy
this
to
is
help you out with that. We've been doing
Ashley,
that
meet
for a
Jerry.
decade. That's when we started out. We just leveraged the building credit into it on top of it. So
Yeah, we're
that's
good.
where we start, because most guys and gals don't understand cash flow. They understand expenses, they understand debt, they understand revenue when they're getting jobs to run the trucks, but they really don't understand how to truly build the cash flow needs of a business. And you're able to do these and overlay them, and it gives you all the data points that you need to. So you have the confidence as an owner of your company that you know exactly where your spend goes, how to plan appropriately for those dry months, because we do have those, right? I mean, there's the ups and downs of business. And if you get into trouble, if you're not planning for it and don't understand it, it just gets a lot harder to try to adjust.
Yeah. And Thomas knows, just from working with me for so many years, we try to educate people on that all the time. Right. And it's something I try to work individually with people too, as producers or salespeople or employees, is like, be aware of, finances and saving and compounding interest and investments and all that kind of stuff. Because once you get the money as the tool, then it becomes fun and it's not as stressful anymore.
That's right.
And you get to actually create some wealth. The transfer of risk over here, but then you can do a transfer of wealth. And that's the goal of all these, business owners and entrepreneurs, is how to get more wealth built for you and the families that you're responsible for, and their employees' families, and all these people you impact every single day. Yeah. So, no, Jerry, that's awesome. What are some other things going down the list of items that you guys are excited to offer?
How about health benefits? I mean, if you're driving a truck, I mean, you got to pay for your own health insurance, right? You're not, when you leave the big trucking company, go work for yourself, who's paying for your health insurance and your dental bills?
You are.
Pretty expensive,
right?
Them off, we're saving. We use a company called Big Tree. We just offer that to our business owners now. The benefits, if you're paying for like a United Healthcare, you might spend, for a family of 4, you might spend $1,600 to $2,200. With Big Tree, same benefits, dental health plan, you're only spending $500 to $700. So they're actually getting their membership services paid for just on the medical and dental savings that we're able to offer in our suite of products for the trucking industry, because they're able to get now health insurance and dental insurance. Thomas, you have that available to you as well, right? So we offer it to our team members as well as to our members that we work with. So we offer health and dental benefits. We also offer payroll services. We have our CFO, fractional CFO. You have a question how to set up your business or run it properly. We have accountants, CPAs, and we have fractional CFOs. We have everything that you could think of to really help you with your business. We have webinars that we do monthly that we're going to start doing in June for fractional CFOs, CPAs. Get in front of someone. Hey, what's the difference? Why do I need to be an S Corp or a C Corp? Or there's guys and gals that are taking checks in for their SSN. If you don't W-9 someone, they just write you a check to your name. That's not in your business's name. That's on you. So now you're putting yourself at jeopardy. There's a huge value of paying yourself dividends over just a salary. And so there's just lots of tax advantage. What if you could pay less to the IRS? How many would like to do that, right? So there's tax strategies that we'll offer as well, because it's hard. We've said that before, right, Cameron? How do you keep up with all of these different things? And that's what gets complicated business. Cash flow, financing, where do I go? How do I get this? The maintenance, my benefits, the keeping up with, what do I need to be an S Corp yet? Or do I need to be a C Corp? Where can I pay less? Because when I pay less to others and I make more for us and the company and pay less in interest for my cash flow that I'm using to operate my business, but I'm not using the dollar I earn to do that, because that's losing opportunity. Now I build a thriving business. And by the way, some of you have sons and daughters that you want to take over your trucking company or add them to your fleet when you're gone and retire. How cool would it be for you to have the business credit on your trucking company, to have that be a legacy for generations to come inside of your family unit? That's the power of building credit, understanding cash flow, knowing what your business is worth, and getting these other services. So as you build your company through the different phases, if you're a solopreneur, you don't need a lot of this stuff. But as you grow to the second truck, the third truck, to the 15th truck, to the 50th truck, then there's tax advantage and services and other things that you're going to need to grow and expand. And that's where we can assist you to help you out as you continue to grow your fleet and your business.
Then you get into asset purchases too, Thomas. How nice would it have been if people set up properly to not get rated as a new DOT when they sold their company, right?
Absolutely.
Just because they didn't
Woo!
do it properly. But if you sell the
Mhm.
asset, liabilities and assets included, and you've structured it properly, well, now you just got new management coming in. It's not a new company; it's just under new management,
Yep.
right?
Well, that's
Effectively.
actually a nice little segue too, because one thing Jerry didn't mention is the business valuation services that we also offer. We do that once a year for free for our clients, which is an average of $8,000 in value right there. But it really helps business owners know what their company is actually worth. If the year before they made some choices, they saw that their net worth has grown, that they want to keep engaging with those practices that they instilled. If they did something new this year and they saw their profit loss go down, their value go down, they know that they need to make some changes. If they're trying to sell your company, or you're looking at getting bought out, if you have $150,000 of zero interest liquidity available to you, and you're worth $500,000 versus the other company who's only worth $500,000 but has no business credit lined up to be able to utilize and grow the company when you step in, you'll be able to evaluate things more appropriately as well. So it's not just the forward thinking as far as the business operations go. It's also when you want to unload it, what are you going to be getting, or what are you going to be asking for? Because without knowing for sure what it is, you're going to undercut yourself 9 times out of 10.
Well, you're going to lose money on that sale anyway. An uneducated seller or buyer will always leave money on the table, right? I
Exactly.
mean, that's just, you should be common knowledge. And if you're gearing up to sell, going back to Jerry's point, S corp, C corp, what changes should I be made coming into my final 5-year plan or whatever? There's going to be significant changes to maximize multiples and valuations coming into that final sale. So I love that you guys touch on all that stuff. This is a lot higher level, I think, than most people even think about in their career, unless they get to the point where they're big enough where it comes into play. And then you got brokers and people that are involved that are going to educate and guide them, and they'll have friends in those circles and stuff like that. So,
And Cameron,
um,
I think that's
yo,
a great point. You could just operate one truck and
yep,
we'll help you, or you can have a fleet of 200 trucks and we'll help you.
yep,
So we're versatile in our services. We're not like a big CPA firm or big banking firm that's going to charge you a lot. We charge everyone the same, and it's a very low entry cost and a lifetime membership. So you get our team as long as you're the business owner, whether you have one truck or a fleet of 200 trucks. We're always going to be your back office support to help you in every stage as you grow, scale, downsize, whatever decision you're going to make. So you know when it's time to hang your hat, to pass it on to your loved one, or to sell it. You'll know exactly where it's worth. You'll know every year where to invest in it. You'll know how you compare locally and nationally, and you'll get the funding at the best rates and terms. So you can take advantage of the cash flow opportunities to really create positive arbitrage to earn more profit. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we're in to serve people, but at the end of the day, if we can make more money at what we love to do and we understand what that looks like, that just makes us smarter and better business owners. And when you have that positioning, people will be looking at you and going, how's he getting it done? And it's really because you understand, have the education, you have systems in place to really help you, because things change, right? Businesses aren't like a steamship that goes straight ahead, especially in the trucking industry. Right? Remember during the pandemic, the tankers were driving all over the place and those guys were making 17, 20 grand a month. And all of a sudden had administration change. And what happened? They changed all that and those guys went out of business, right? Well, imagine if you had business capital, you could buy these trailers, and some of these companies are going out of business. You could buy their equipment at cents on the dollar. That's where corporate credit can help you buy. You don't have to buy new stuff. You can buy these things for these guys and gals that got into it and couldn't make it. You give you the capital to make decisions to be able to buy equipment at a lot lower rate on these out of business sales, right?
And I've unfortunately known too many companies that I actually work with that had lot sales of equipment,
Yeah,
brand new equipment, whole
you
lots
get
for
it.
sale.
Yep.
But there's opportunity there for others that can take
It's
advantage of
horrible to
that.
think about it. There's an opportunity for
It
someone's
is.
demise,
It
but
really is.
it's business,
But
right?
it's business, baby. Business is cutthroat. It's ruthless and
Mm-hmm.
does not get easier, but you get better and you can become a lot more efficient and
That's right.
more seasoned as you kind of go on. I'm excited too to hear a little bit about Jerry, the educational series and stuff coming up. So let's talk about where people can get in touch with you, where they can follow you, where they can get the content, they can find maybe some of those, you know, public facing educational webinars and stuff that you just kind of mentioned. Where can people follow you at?
You can go to jgalt.io. Very important. It's not .com, it's .io. You can also, we can get you Thomas information. There's a whole website. We can give you a free credit building ebook. just to show you what this looks like. So if that's something for being on a show, we'd like to give that as a free gift for listening today. You can get with Thomas and he can be a contact. Either one of us would love to help you. If there's something else, we can come on and get more into the weeds on giving them education to set up their business on cash flow or the business valuation or understanding what their credit is. We like to offer all your listeners and viewers a free business credit report, and they can just reach straight out to Thomas, and we're happy to share that with you and go through that to put you in a better place for your company.
Sweet. And then Thomas, what's your email and how can they get a hold of you?
It would be tcomstock@jgalt.io for my email address. You can reach me obviously anytime there. Text messages are also easy enough for me to respond to, 208-640-0631. And then if you want to check out my website, it's jgalt.io/tcomstock. And that's about it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think those are valuable tools for listeners to kind of check out, take advantage of, dip the toe, if you will, in some of the different services and stuff that we'll offer. And no doubt too, Jerry, we'll chat on some synergy opportunities and things that we can offer as a suite as well to, clients. Because my job, like you, has always been a connector. How do I connect people with other good people or services and industries? And likewise with Thomas knows this, and just making sure that we bring enough education and value above and beyond what we're actually getting paid to do.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I
get paid as the ancillary product of this. I mean, if I can connect you and put you in a better place, that's what our mission is at J.GALT. We look at ourselves as Crusader, and our mission is to serve you and put you in a better place, whether we give you the tools and information to do it on your own. This is such an important feature as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. If you can understand and get access to capital like those Wall Street corporations, understand your cash flow needs, and really where to invest in your business, how to insure your asset properly, because you're building something cool. And a lot of people don't understand all the different places they need to insure it to protect it, and then know exactly what it's worth, because it's your baby, right? It's usually your largest asset that you're building. So if you can understand those three pillars of a business, it's not the loans, the bank, their business accounts, the websites. It's more than that on the foundational side of things. So if there's something we can do to help any of your viewers or listeners or the people that you're doing with, but I would love to connect with you, Cameron, and see where we can connect together and serve others to help them impact, because we know that we have the greatest country in the world and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, people need to be reminded of that. It's not all doom and gloom, man. These little echo chambers of this negativity is depressing. So
it is.
That's what we're here to combat. It's like, yes, guys, there's opportunity, tremendous amount of opportunity coming out the end of this. And if you can stay focused, have a business plan, understand what makes you different, understand why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to thrive. No doubt about it. So absolutely. I'm excited. People like you are what excite me, and Thomas, going back to why we started this, is connecting with awesome people to bring value. So I appreciate the introduction tremendously. Jerry, I'm so appreciative of your time. I know you're busy. I'm so grateful that you took some time to share with our listeners about what you do and take some time out of your busy schedule to come chat. I'm super appreciative of that.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I appreciate you having me on. And it was our pleasure to be here. And Thomas and I are here to serve your viewers and your listeners. And if there's anything, we mean that. We're not looking to make any money at all unless we can impact you and help you out with where you guys are headed and what you're trying to accomplish. So if we can solve a hurdle or help you hit a goal, reach out to Thomas or myself, and we'll be happy to help out.
Awesome. Any closing words, Thomas?
I got nothing. I think we covered almost everything.
Likewise, I appreciate you guys. Listeners, as always, you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, get a load of this trucking podcast, all the major plays, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, wherever you listen to your podcast. Share it with your friends, especially if you know someone that's potentially struggling or a new business owner, even a fleet. So many people I talk to, there's so many things that they're just not taking advantage of. And so our mission is to change that and get you in touch with the right folks. So everyone have a good day. Drive safe. We appreciate you guys.